Our initial commenters will be coming up here, and those are your very strong representatives to us. We've got Governor Mills will be going first, followed by Senator Collins, Representative Angrier, Representative Goldman, and General Cooper will be providing a statement for Senator
didn't happen, okay? It's because I got them here. All right? That's why they're here. I appreciate that the NOAA Fisheries Assistant Administrator and her staff are here. But let me be clear, I shouldn't have had to ask. And the delegation shouldn't have had to ask for the voices of Maine lobstermen to be heard tonight.
Why'd you take money from them then?
I've heard a lot about risk reduction, and I understand that's in the court opinion, that's in the Marine Mammal Protection Act, that's in the law. But I'm concerned about the risk reduction to Maine's fishermen and fishing families, more than I am about the risk reduction to the right whales. And if the law doesn't require that balancing, then the law should be changed. Maine lobstermen have taken unprecedented steps to protect right whales, efforts that the federal government, I believe, and the federal court fails to recognize. Our lobstermen help develop whale protections. You mentioned some of them. Measures to comply with regulations, spending tens of thousands of dollars, each of them, out of their own pockets, a huge expense, to modify and change up their gear to protect right whales. Been doing it for years. They've switched from floating rope to sinking rope, put more traps on a line to reduce the number of lines, weakened the rope to ensure that any whale that encounters a line can swim free. They've placed special marking on their lines to let researchers identify the origin of an injury, etc., entanglements. You know all this. You know all this. And after all of those measures, no right whale death has been attributed to Maine gear. A single right whale entanglement attributed to Maine lobster gear in 18 years, since the gear measures we just talked about. That's why I joined the lawsuits against the federal government, both the current president and the previous president. But based on what I've seen so far, the next round of regulations, whatever they are not going to protect right whales. They'll simply endanger the lives and livelihoods of thousands of hard-working lobstermen who risk their lives to put food on the table while practicing responsible stewardship and paying out of their own pockets to protect the whales. You might think these are just words, but we're already witnessing the very real impacts of this rule before it's even drafted. Shoreside businesses are already selling fewer traps and gear. Dealers and processors are anticipating lower cash, so leading to less processing, less trucking, less packing, fewer shipments, fewer exports. Restaurants up and down the coast that rely on the income from this industry are bracing themselves. They survived the challenges of the pandemic. Now the federal government is about to rip economic recovery right out from under them. Based on what? On fear, not facts. Tonight I stand here to defend our fishermen and promise you I will fight with everything I have to prevent this or any other extreme rules from the federal government from taking effect. Maine is a strong partner in conservation and sustainability. We want to protect the right whales, but I ask NOAA again to consider every possible alternative to reduce the risk without damaging, destroying Maine's lobster and gillnet fishing industries. And if you can't do that, then let's amend the law. That's what I'm about. Because the computer scenarios you folks create in your DC offices don't reflect the reality and the stories of these men and women, fishermen who set out from the docks before dawn, who break their backs to haul traps in all kinds of weather, who feed their families and neighbors in our state's economy with this catch. Fishermen like my own ancestors from Stonington, several of whom lost their lives at sea. Maine fishermen are the heart and soul of our state. They have my deepest gratitude and my fervent support. They deserve yours as well.
I would like to,
Can you come up to the, oh.
3 minutes initially, and let the next governor, Paul Page, speak, and then I'll hear.
No, I have a prepared speech here, but much of what I have to say has already been said. But I will say a couple of things, and I really wish that the people at NOAA really, really understand what I'm saying here. You know, we're talking about a 0.7 incidental take. But folks, the windmills, if they're built, is going to be 5.4. 8 years I spent working with New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and I know the people. We talk. We know who's killing the right whales, and they constantly apologize. In fact, they tell me that they've slowed down the cargo ships to 5 miles an hour. I called them just recently to see how well that's going. It's not working. So that's what's happening. Another thing that's happening is our cruise ships out there. We need to pay attention to all of the science.
If they really care.
I believe that the people at NOAA truly care, and they're doing a job. But I will tell you this. Congressman Golden hit it on the head. It's being funded by environmental groups and wind people. And the Biden administration, just last week, this afternoon, I was asked to give an interview about his decision to put windmills in the ocean, in Maine waters. He hired one of the top windmill experts in the world to work in his administration. Folks, I'm telling you, it's not about NOAA. It's about the people of Maine and the fishermen of Maine have a right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and the Constitution of Maine.